Hi Trinity Rock and Pop drummers, hope you're well. This is a talk-through video for Smooth Criminal by Alien Ant Farm, Trinity Rock and Pop drums, grade 6. Classic, this is the Alien Ant Farm version of the Michael Jackson song. I remember hearing this when I was, 20, 21, something like that, and just being really excited to hear it, honestly. It seemed like a great mixture of like a technically advanced and cool drum part, but also it was just played with such kind of vigour and energy and just heart. It was kind of just what, just felt like just what the music scene kind of needed at that point, man. It's just a really cool thing, and yeah, I think it still strikes a chord with drummers and everyone else even now. There's a lot of stuff in this. This is grade 6, and there's a lot of stuff in this. What we tend to do here, is play a kind of jammed through version first. It's really easy to look at it right from the start and go, oh, this is hard, this is complicated, and especially in the intro, there's loads of stuff. So we tend to, and this works, I would say, for most people as a good way into it, we tend to just play a little jam through version first, as in play like the basic version of the feel in each section and be able to get through the song, and then you can go back bit by bit and add in the little details. And I actually think at this level that's more and more of a good way to get into the songs, fun enough, because there's often so much detail in the part. It's so easy to get drawn into that small detail. Before we know it, we've spent a week trying to learn the first 2 bars. And often, not always, but often for people, that's the route to them kind of giving up on stuff when it gets tricky. Is that feeling of like, I'm going over the same stuff again and again and it's not really happening. I really like, personally, to get an overview of something. If I read a non-fiction book, I think this is a random analogy, right? But it works for me. If I'm reading a book, particularly a non-fiction book, I really like to spend some time at the start just sitting with the chapter headings, right? Because I just like to really get a feel where it's all going. I like to know what the sort of basic structure is and just get a feel for the thing overall. Like what is this all about before I get too swept up into the small stuff. And I think with a tune like this can work great as well. Get an overview in your head. So we'll talk about that quickly first, playing the basic version of the beat in each section, and then we'll go into the details. Right, so on the intro, the core basic version is something like this. Now you might be looking at that going, well, that's nothing like the part. It's got none of the details in, but remember what I said. This is all about just getting a basic version of the groove going. You've basically got a 2-bar phrase, a straight 8s feel, so kick, snare, straight 8s on the hi-hat for now. And at the end of the second bar, on the end of beat 4, a little push, an open hi-hat or a crash with a kick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Something like that. And again, that would just allow you to jam through this first section. That's all we're doing for now. The verse is the same sort of feel. So bar 9. Again, just syncing that up with the music, getting a feel for it. That's all we do in the very first run through. And then the trashy hi-hat bit at bar 17, disco feel. This would be a simple version, something like. So again, just a really core version, kick, snare, getting the trashy hi-hat to hit on the off beats, on the and again, big feature of this song, at the end of every 2 bars, a pushed crash cymbal on the and of beat 4. Chorus, same, straight 8s feel at first. Just get it going, man. Get it sync with the track, get it off the ground. Then you've got the trashy hi-hat section again. Then the one bit that typically actually in a session here we would do on the first playthrough is that you've been hit by a smooth criminal. The bit that says tight hi-hat, that's bar 39, right? And that goes. So first bar, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Closed hi-hat here, tight as in closed. Second bar, bar 40. That 2-bar phrase again. that is quite a nice bit to throw in note for note at first. It's a really like iconic moment in the track. You've then got more verse, which for now you can play as the same feel as before. You've got Annie, Are You Okay, which is trashy hi-hat. And the chorus, play it the same as before. Over the page, more trashy hi-hat. You've Been Hit by a Smooth Criminal again. So 67 and 68. Oh, here he comes. More intro style groove. The only bit that's really different in this sort of first playthrough basic groove version is the guitar solo, which is like a 16th note feel. Just play a straight 16th note beat for now. One of those just to get through the tune. The chorus, straight 8s feel again on the ride, with those pushes at the end of every second bar. The stay on the ride developing pattern, well, it's just the jams, you can have some fun with that. The outro is like the intro, and let's play on this first run through the last bar note for note, which goes. So 1 and 2 8th notes, 2 and a, 2 and a, that classic 1/8, 2 16ths phrase, and then 4 and floor tom and kick together. Last bar of all, 3 and 4 and. So I'd say in the first instance, do that. Get the intro like / verse groove down, get the basic version of the chorus groove down, get the Annie, Are You Okay trashy hi-hat, get the You've Been Hit by a Smooth Criminal, as in. And get the last bar of all down, and just be able, first of all, to play through the song with the backing track, and just move from one section to the next at the right time, and hit the end of the song correctly, right? And hit the You've Been Hit by a Smooth Criminal a couple of times, that comes up. Get that down first, because one of the things I've seen the most, again to repeat here, is just guys and girls getting so swept up in this and talking about how difficult it is, and they actually don't. They lose track of, they can't play through the song, like they've been studying it for weeks and they can't even play through it. I always think, imagine the gig, when you first look at a song like this, imagine the gig was tonight, and what would you do to sort of get away with it? I'm not saying you'd play the part flawlessly, but what would you do to sort of get away with it? What would be like an acceptable thing for the rest of the guys in the band could play with and it would fit? You go back and put the detail in after that. So first port of call, again, to repeat, is to play through the song with a basic version of the groove in each section, to hit the You've Been hit by a Smooth Criminal, and to hit the end cleanly. Then you go back to the intro. This is what I'd recommend. Then we go back to the intro and build it from there, which we'll now do. So the intro goes like this. Iconic, classic little part that, and loads of stuff in it. Let's have a look. The first note of all is a choked crash with a kick on the and of beat 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Play just that note first, right? Everyone does it. You're going to try and play it all, but play just that note. Get it right first. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. You're going to hit the cymbal and then choke it. Right? Not the other way around. Hit the cymbal, then choke it. We then start with another crash on the and of beat 1, which isn't choked. So first 2 hits, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1. That's going to lead you from that crash cymbal on the and of beat 1, the second crash we hit, to another kick straight after on A. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then 2 and 3 and 4 and okay. What we'll often do when we're first building this up is stuff like, we'll just loop that. So we play the opening crash cymbal choke and the first bar, and then maybe have a bar's rest, and just loop it. I've said this 1,000 times on other videos, but take your time, and what won't work is just putting the music on at full speed and bashing along and hoping to play the part. At grade 6, that it won't work, man. This will work. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. and 2 and repeat, and here we go. And here we go, first bar again. Oh, she's going to kick at the end. You get the idea, so loads of repeats of that. You might then put in the second bar, which goes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and open hi-hat and kick at the end, man. And then just stuff like, once you've got a bit of a feel for that, the first 2 bars, and just loop them around, right? It'll go 2 and 3 and 4. Loop. Loop. Hopefully the groove is all making a bit of sense. It's a case of putting kicks, sometimes with the hi-hat, sometimes in between. I mean, there's only so much I can do in one video. Hopefully if you're at grade 6, to some extent you've got a feel for playing these type of grooves. If not, just go slow and build it up. Maybe take some time out to do some sort of groove development type stuff. And yeah, man, I think that would be, for hopefully guys attempting grade 6, that level of dropping the kick with the hi-hat and then sometimes in between the hi-hat will be not necessarily something you play instantly correctly straight away, but you would be able to understand what you're looking at there and hearing and put together with a bit of practice. Next 2 bars now, 3 and 4, 1 So bars 3 and 4, again, tons of detail in this, not least the hi-hat getting more busy. So in bar 4, the hi-hat part, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and loads of stuff going on here, man. I'm going to play that again, 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And again, 3 and 4, bar 3. So often guys, once they've sort of played through the whole song in the sort of jam through mode, they come back here and they might spend, honestly, like, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks learning that first 4 bars. I'll play the first 4 bars on a loop a few times. Tons of stuff in there, man. And it might well be, for a lot of guys, it is, honestly, it would have been for me at grade 6, a case of breaking down stuff, like really getting into detail. So, for example, something we find a lot here, bar 4, beats 2 and 3, saying the combinations out loud, just taking little moments, like bar 4, beat 2, 2, and hi-hat with snare, hi-hat on its own, hi-hat with kick. If you're truly going to learn this part note for note, sometimes it boils down to that, man. And it comes down to stuff like questions of, do you really truly want to learn this? Do you know what I mean? Like, because sometimes it's quite hard going, honestly. And well, here's the thing, like if you haven't realised this by grade 6, like getting really good at doing something and especially learning parts note for note is kind of a labour of love. And for even experienced drummers, it can often involve some serious effort, man. It is basically hard work at times. Yeah, and that's cool, man, because the result you get for it is worth it, I think. One last time, from the top. 5 there. Bar 5 goes. In fact, I'm going to do just bar 5. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So 1, not the right symbol, 1, and, so coming in on that and with an open hi-hat. Now bar 6 has got some super tasty double strokes in it. At least I think that's the idea. You'd play them as double strokes. People often ask me, can you play them as singles? Yes, you can. Is it as cool? No, I don't think it is. So 1 and 2 and 3. That's bar 6, right? First half, 1 and 2 and Now, these are effectively 16th notes, as in this is the second half of bar 6. 3 E and 4 and, back to 8th notes at the end. But the 3 and the E, we're going to diddle them. We're going to double them up. Hopefully you're into bounce doubles, playing quick doubles by this point. 3 E and 4. That moment again, second half of bar 6. So bar 6 again, whole thing. Alright, I'm going to take bars 5 and bar 6 and loop them. So, really cool little moment. For all those people who say, well, drum rudiments, what's the point? That's the point right there. When cool things like that come up in music, you've got the skill in your hands. If you practice your double stroke roll, and you can play that smoothly, when that moment comes up in the song, you're in business. And so on, bar 7, here we go. In fact, that was 7 and 8. So 7 and 8 one last time. I'm going to play the whole intro real slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. People always ask me about bass drum technique when we're doing this as well. I use heel up technique, bouncing on the ball of the foot here. I like to keep it simple as well, man. Don't spend your life getting too obsessed watching every YouTube video under the sun, although nothing against watching YouTube videos, of course, about bass drum technique. Heel up, give it a good thump, practice it, man. You'll get better. Right, that's the end of that. Right, verse. Nothing against heel down, by the way. Heel down, if you practice it, will work as well. I personally favour heel up because I feel like you can get a bit more bounce on the quicker, like double notes when you're playing. Personally, it's a bit easier to get a quick bit of bounce, bit of leverage there. But basically, it's practice, man. You've got to do it. Right, verse. So we're in a sort of simpler territory here, in that it's at least one nice repeating 2-bar phrase. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And what to watch out for here is the second bar, bar 10 in the first case, 2 and which leads you into 3 and 4. Make sure you're playing those 2 extra notes on the hi-hat. First groove a bit faster. Continue similar with ad-lib hi-hat, so you can have some fun with it. You don't have to religiously stick to that part after that. Have a listen, man. Listen to the demo version, have a listen to the original, watch my YouTube video demo of this, and see if you can, come up with some stuff, man. That's the fun of this. Right, drum fill, bar 16. E and. 8th notes and then 16th notes through beat 2 and beat 3. On beat 4, 4 E and. 2 16ths, 1 8th. So a nice little bit of drill here is to do like a bar of groove, a bar of drum fill. So effectively bars 15 and 16. Or loop the 4-bar phrase, you know, 13 to 16, loop the whole section, loop the whole verse. Looping section is such a huge way to develop your skill here. All right, trashy hi-hat bit, 17. So the hi-hat always plays on and. The kick is going to sync with it on and. In the first case, at the start of 17, 2 E, a snare then a kick. So a 16th and a dotted 8th. That comes in before the second and on the hi-hat. 1. Bar 17. Bar 18. I'm going to play the whole 2-bar phrase slow and build it up. 17, 2 and 3 and 4 and. Lovely little part to play, and at the end of the first page, 23 and 24. So the drum fill goes 3 E and a 4 E and. Last 2 bars of the first page again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, chorus, it goes. Cool, so ghosted note. The note as small as a ghosted note. First bar, 1 E and. Beat 2, 2 and up. First half of the bar, 1 E and up. And 4. First half, bar 25. And 4 and 1. Second half a bit simpler. 3 and a 4 and. 3 and a 4 and. So 25 goes. 1, 2, bar 25, here we go. 1, 2, bar 25, last time. Second bar of the phrase, bar 26, first half. On beat 1, so really similar to beat 1 of the previous bar, except you hit a ride at the start. 1 E and. 2 1. So but for that ride at the start, it's the same as the first half of the previous bar, 25. First half of bar 26. Again. Second half of 26. Whole of bar 26. Again, 1 and 2, bar 26. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 26 again. Here it comes. so on. In the end, it'll give you 2, 3, 4. Please make sure your ghosted note on the E of beat 1 is nice and soft, real quiet. Okay, back to the trashy hi-hat, which is the same as before, and back to You've Been Hit by a Smooth Criminal, which we already learned in our jam through. Then do a verse type of feel, which is the same as before, so 41. Fun little drum fill there. 44. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Rhythm is 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 4 and. So 1 and beat 1, 2 and. First half. Second half, 3 and a 4 and. Bar 44. Okay, verse. Same again. Cool little drum fill here. 48. Great little drum fill. 1, 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and. So 1, 2 cool bit, isn't it? So if we loop that verse line 45, we go. Watch out, man. Classic rookie error, not leaving beat 1 off bar 48 long enough. Classic rookie error. It won't fit, man, with the music. One whole beat. 1, 2, 3. You've got to leave that hi-hat and kick for the whole of beat 1. Then the trashy hi-hat bit, which we know and love by now, finishes at 56 with 3 E and a 4 E and. Chorus, the same as before. Trashy hi-hat, same as before. We're at bar 67 now. You've Been Hit by a Smooth Criminal, same as before. '69, verse type of groove, same as before, with your own drum fill in the 4th bar. I'll give you an example of that line. Starting at 69. Something where you crash on the end of beat 4, then trashy hi-hat and Are You OK style bit. Same as before. Continue similar, so the first 2 bars you play the part, the second 2 bars you play something really similar to it. Guitar solo, fun little groove. Oh, sorry, my fault. Guitar solo. Now, 2 ways of looking at this really. I noticed on the demo that the guy plays this first bar as written and then continues to play straight 16ths after that, which does make quite a lot of sense. So he plays. Which I've got to say does make a lot of sense. When I first did the video of it a while ago now, I repeated that first bar with the rest at the start. By the letter of the notation, the thing I did is correct as far as my point of view goes. But it does make sense that you would do the 16th notes all the way through. In the original, I think that's probably the feel. And when you get to the end here at bar 85, you can see there that that particular one has got 16ths at the start, kind of suggesting that they would all have as well. So I would say either is fine, presumably. If you follow the part as written, that can't be wrong, can it? If you do the thing that perhaps we can kind of intuit that is maybe supposed to be happening, then that was fine as well. hopefully this makes sense. So you could either, like I did, leave an 8th note rest at the start, and it would all sound like this. Which I actually really like the feel of as well. Or you could do either way, man, it'll sound good. So we've got 1 and this is 77 now. 1 and 2 and So the first half, 1 and that might take a bit of working on, man, for a lot of guys. So just building up the coordination bit by bit. 1 and second half. Second half again. Whole of 77. 1 and 3. And again on repeats, you can either play the first 2 16ths on the hi-hat or leave them out. Either is fine. Just before the chorus then, 84. Like so often in this song, another little push crash on the end of beat 4. 1 and 3. Chorus the same as before, including your own drum fill. Really fun bit. 93, stay on the ride, developing the pattern, man. This is your chance to do your stuff. Like, I've talked enough in this video, we've already been going for like half an hour or so, I'm going to just say do your thing in that bit, man. Like, experiment, have some fun with it. There has to be an element here. If you got to grade 6, if you can't be spoon-fed stuff, like, that's your chance to play, man. Like, you do this thing, you play the drums, you love it, you know, show us your stuff at that point. And then, outro, like the intro, like the verse. Loads of that, finishing on. So hopefully if you did that version at the start that I recommended of just jamming through and hitting the end correctly, you'll be in the clear once you hit that intro. So that's a very long video, that's probably my longest ever video, but hopefully that makes a bit of sense and is helpful for you. Again, I think the way to do it, certainly the way that's been most effective here for most guys, is to have a jam through first, get the core feel going in each section, get used to where it changes from one bit to the next. And you can even do a little drum fill that isn't necessarily the drum fill, like leading from one bit to the next where you see a fill, and then hit the You've Been Hit by a Smooth Criminal, hit the end, and then bit by bit go back and just add in bits. You don't even need to go back and do them in order, so you don't have to learn the intro first, for example. You can pick whatever bit. So I think that's a really good way of doing it. Thanks so much. Hopefully that all makes a bit of sense. Hopefully these videos are useful. Please let me know if so. And yeah, please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks a million. Any questions, give us a shout. See you soon.